Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting from the Hesselson Studio here on Historic Market Street in Corning. And speaking of Historic Market Street, where in the world did the summer go? If we're talking about Harvest Fest, we can't...
Just look in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
That's where it went.
Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I'm so glad that you've joined us this morning. We have a very, very busy show. In the 6 o'clock hour, coming up in just a few breaks, we're going to rebroadcast an interview, and it's important to rebroadcast it because we had the interview, quite a few weeks ago. And it was in preparation of Harvest Fest here on Market Street in the Gaffer District, I should say. And that is this weekend. Yes, time flies. It's this Saturday. So I thought to kind of recap what you can expect this weekend for Harvest Fest, we would rebroadcast that interview. We also, we'll be talking about all the issues of the day. I've got a couple announcements that we'll be making throughout the morning. This is a very busy weekend, by the way. For whatever reason, everybody picked the 21st. I know yesterday we had the interview with the Alzheimer's Association about the Walk to End Alzheimer's in Watkins Glen at the racetrack. That's on the 21st. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later on as well. There's also the beginning of the book sale here in Corning. There's Heritage Festival, which is right by Market Street at what used to be known as the Benjamin Patterson. We're going to talk about some of those, highlight some of those, and plan your weekend here on a Wednesday. First, a comment from yesterday after the program, after the show had aired. This is from a viewer. How is it that a party that tells you how to talk, referencing the idiotic replacement word list, and this is a Democrat party, so many times we have an article where you can no longer say this, or you can no longer say that, because this is now deemed offensive. How are they not considered the real threat to democracy? Yet another example of those who are yelling the loudest are guilty, and not President Trump. And we're going to give you some examples of that, the idea of yelling the loudest and talking about rhetoric the most while using inflammatory rhetoric. We'll be talking about that as well. This is an update from yesterday that I wanted to mention to you. You may have heard by now, but we started the program with this yesterday. The Sheriff's Office of Steuben County has issued a new statement. Yesterday morning, the Steuben County Sheriff's Office was made aware that yesterday's social media threat, so 2 days ago, social media threats that circulated through other school districts in the region have now identified the Corning High School and BOCES. These swatting hoaxes were deemed unfounded yesterday, and they appear to be part of the same larger pattern of hoaxes circulating throughout the Northeast United States. We are working closely with our Steuben County school districts, our school resource officers, local and federal law enforcement partners to monitor the situation. We'll be increasing visibility at schools countywide as a precaution. There does not appear to be any credibility to these posts. We will remain vigilant and follow through and with all reported threats and take appropriate actions. We would remind the community to immediately report any threat or concerning behaviors to law enforcement. So that's coming from Sheriff Allard and the Office of the Sheriff of Steuben County yesterday, just as a quick update. Okay, here's something to start with. And yes, we are going to talk about pagers, which you may say, wait, is this a rerun from 20 years ago? No, pagers are back in the news in quite a manner. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. First, from studyfinds.org. I found this interesting, and I can't remember what website I found this on doing show prep. But we know that there's a lot of worry out there, financial worry. No matter what the media tells us, they say, no, the stats are showing us that everything's good. Ignore your grocery bill, ignore all your bills. Things are really going great. Why are they saying that? Because it's an election year. But when you've got the financial worries and, let's face it, political worries for many people, a new survey has uncovered the staggering impact of stress on everyday Americans. So I'll pose this question to you. How stressed are you? The average person feels their head spinning from stress a whopping 156 times per year. So that's about 3 times a week. Your head is spinning due to stress. The poll surveyed 2,000 adults. It also found that 41% of respondents are currently experiencing their peak stress level for the year. Even more concerning, Americans say they experience brain fog with the same frequency as stress headaches, which is about 3 times a week, while 30% of those surveyed remain hopeful that their stress levels will decrease by year's end. A quarter, 26%, fear their stress might actually increase. And despite these high stress levels, a surprising 45% of respondents have never taken a mental health day or a sick day from work solely due to stress. So the average person feels their head spinning from stress a whopping 156 times per year, 3 times a week. Then they mention Americans say they experience brain fog with the same frequency. So does that mean 3 days your head is spinning because of stress, the other 3 days you're in brain fog? Not taking this lightly, just a question. They go through what some people do to deal with this. Some of the trouble they have is sleeping, irritability, fatigue, headaches, and feeling worried or paranoid. But to combat it, 47% turn to music or go to TV shows at a 39% rate. Well, and I did not mean to bring it up this way, but if you want to ease your worried mind, feel free to tune into Frankly Speaking. Be one of the 39% that feel that's a great way to combat stress. Well, they say TVs, but we know what they really mean, frankly speaking. Some find solace in snacking, which is probably not a great idea, 17%, or enjoy a cup of tea at 14%. It doesn't say how many turn to alcohol. So America at their breaking point. 41% said they're at peak stress right now. Now, I'm curious how much of that is because of the constant doom and gloom from the media, especially as we near Election Day, and the discussions that we've been having really all week this week, but unfortunately for months now, which is the constant Trump is a threat to democracy. It's the end of the world as we know it. If Trump and MAGA Republicans get in there, et cetera, you keep pushing people to that stress level because you can't downplay the impact media has and social media has. And both of those outlets so frequently turn to the scare tactics, the fear mongering. So I would have a feeling that if that survey dipped into it a little more, they'd find that a lot of it is due to kind of the fear mongering by politicians, but also the media. I would say one way to decompress very often, I know a lot of people do it, is to turn off the nightly news type thing, that idea, but only on the weekends, or at least maybe a day to take a breather. I personally just do on the weekends to keep informed for this program. But maybe if you are stressed because of work, how about this? Once highly sought after, New York is trying to attract thousands of people to government jobs. This actually made me more stressed. The state touts one-stop shopping center for those seeking state and local government jobs. For years, people knew that state jobs were highly sought after for their stability, regular hours, benefits, and pay. But applying could be a daunting process with exam requirements, civil service lists to contend with, and other obstacles. Now, as New York faces shortfalls in many sectors of its vast workforce, leaders of the Departments of Labor and Civil Service are working together to remove the barriers, both real and perceived. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this shortfall. One, because people are leaving New York State in droves. Maybe because there's so many government jobs out there. But also, we have heard from many at the local level on this program looking for good jobs, steady jobs, looking for people to take those jobs, like corrections officers, et cetera. We've talked about it numerous times on this program. As part of the new streamlining process, the Labor and Civil Service Departments are opening a series of 10 centers for careers in government as some of the 100 Division of Labor Career Centers around the state. Wow, there's a lot of government, isn't there? These are spots where state job seekers can receive assistance in finding a state or local government job. At the new site, staffers will help job seekers in learning about the varied opportunities in state and local government, as well as how and when to apply. They can also help current state employees bolster career mobility and transfer opportunities. Whew. All right, so there you are. If you're stressed and you want a job where they say there's regular hours, maybe amazing health care benefits, says a quote here, a pension, flexible hours, stability, and competitive pay, there is something for everyone here in the state of New York. There you are, to ease your worried mind. All right, when we come back, as the New York Post put it so eloquently, paging Hezbollah. We'll be talking about it when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
Hesselson's Hot Spring Hot Tub Sales Event is going on now. New technology, cleaner water, easy to use, hot water made simple. Hesselson's, your locally owned and operated hot spring hot tub store since 1955, is offering huge incentives on their saltwater hot tubs. Deluxe lifters and steps, Bluetooth music, freshwater IQ, plus 0% interest-free financing options. Come to Hesselson's today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's Hot Spring saltwater hot tub. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
There's a reality in healthcare today. People are facing rising costs. At Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're here to make sure no one faces them alone. We are advocates for our members and communities, ensuring access to high-quality care and working with doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies to make care as effective and efficient as possible. So every day, every member, everybody benefits.
Rated the hearing aids of 2023 by Forbes, the Audion Atom 2 series offers superior sound quality and functionality for a fraction of the price. For just $189 a pair, the Atom 2 features 4 different hearing modes for all types of hearing loss. It packs crystal clear sound, a nearly invisible design, and is even rechargeable.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids. They're so comfortable, I forget I'm wearing them. And the sound is amazing.
The Atom Pro 2 is our smallest hearing aid yet, featuring advanced background noise cancellation, and is the world's first hearing aid with built-in UV cleaning that kills 99% of bacteria.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed without seeing a doctor or having a hearing test.
Join over 500,000 happy customers today and get the hearing you deserve.
Call 1-800-434-9816 or go to audionhearing.com to get your pair of Audion hearing aids starting at just $108.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. I'm your host, Frank Acom. A couple comments from viewers. It's like you were reading my mind this morning. Thanks for the why the stress. I agree with you about the Frankly Speaking cure. Yes, 38% tune into TV to relieve their stress. But I can't think of a better way to relieve your stress until you hear some of the things I have to say when I read quotes from MSNBC and CNN and the likes. But the goal is not to stress you out, so I appreciate that. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. I find it difficult to sleep and concentrate. I'm afraid to say, and it's largely is due to the feeling so uneasy about the direction that we are going and the division and blatant lies. I can totally understand that. I can totally relate. When you take the deep dives into the news, as we do for show prep here on the program, and of course keep updated, and I hope that you don't do that. Like I do, check the news constantly throughout the day. Check various social media to see what's new in the news. But if you do, it does get very discouraging. It does get very easy to, and to your point, not be able to concentrate. You're focused on so many things, maybe something you heard in the news, some new way that they're trying to scare you or to push this fear mongering. So I totally understand. But then you see something like Sunday with another assassination attempt on the former president, and the division scares me as well, and to see almost the downplaying of it in the media and the victim blaming of the president, is the former president, is so, I guess frustrating would be the word that I would use. I like the term uneasy, though, that this viewer uses. I can understand about the feeling of being uneasy. So thank you for that. Now, and I there's no answer. I mean, I would love to say, don't worry about it. Isn't that what people would say? Oh, don't stress so much about it. It gets very difficult. It does. It gets very difficult. So you may not, look at all these waves coming in this morning. You may not remember what a pager is. It was amazing to me. The whole story here is amazing. But I guess what was the concern for Hezbollah was that maybe their cell phones were hacked in a way. So they went to the old pager system. And allegedly, it's not confirmed, Israel found a way to plant those pagers with bombs, and those bombs to all go off at the same time. Now, if you're not familiar with pagers, or it's been a while since, and maybe you can't really picture it, the location of most pagers, if you're wearing it, is not an area where you want a bomb to be located. I'll put it that way. Now, I know you don't want a bomb located anywhere, but that may be an extra sensitive general area where you would not want a bomb to be placed. It killed at least, this pager explosion killed at least 9, it wasn't just one pager, that killed at least 9 and injured 2,800. And it was detonated with a message that was impersonating Hezbollah leadership. This is fascinating. This is just like out of a movie. It almost seems as if it would be impossible. It was detonated by a message impersonating the leaders of the recognized terrorist group. Hezbollah militants all across Lebanon and parts of Syria received a message that appeared to be sent by the group's leadership to their new pagers at 3:30 p.m. But in reality, the fake message was the trigger that set off explosives hidden in the device, according to the New York Times. The message triggered the batteries inside the pagers to overheat and ignite the explosives. The pagers, which were allegedly rigged with explosives by the Israeli spy agency Mossad, beeped for several seconds before they exploded, almost like what you would think of if you heard a bomb. The exploding beepers killed at least 9 people, 8 of whom appeared to be Hezbollah fighters, and this is, of course, where the media focuses because of the fact that, and tragically, an 8-year-old girl was killed. It injured roughly 2,800 people, according to Lebanese officials. The device left a trail of small bloody scenes throughout the country as they exploded in people's pockets, bags, and hands. Some of the victims lost their hands. We're not going to go through all that, right? Some other graphic details. How this was able, this is remarkable. Mossad allegedly intercepted a shipment of the Taiwanese-made beepers before it reached Lebanon and planted 1 to 2 ounces of, I'm not even going to try, but it's PETN. It's shortened to PETN, a highly explosive material next to the battery, along with a remote trigger switch. The devices were brand new, but it's unclear when they arrived in Lebanon or how long they had been in use. Fascinating news story there. And also you think about the I don't know that specific explosive, of course. I would have no idea. But are you also worried about after you've planted them? Because someone would have had to hand plant every one of those. Are they worried about the shipment? About getting there? Because if one goes off, the whole, I guess the whole tactic, this whole attack is thwarted. Because if one goes off, either they all explode or they realize, we have been compromised. Now, the attack, originally the pagers came from, even though they were Taiwanese made, it said it came from Budapest. So we're hearing some back and forth. It is fascinating. They were implanted with as little as 1 to 2 ounces of the explosive, allegedly placed next to each battery, along with a switch that could be triggered remotely to cause detonation. So you would think experts would have to plant this. I mean, I don't know if pagers have changed, but because the only pictures that they've shown where of the exploded pagers that I've seen. I'm assuming that they're the size of the pagers of yesteryear, which were just almost like a garage door opener size, a little bit bigger. And again, leave it to the New York Post. Paging Hezbollah. Israel has just turned the screw tighter in Lebanon as the IDF sent an urgent message to Hezbollah. In what initially appeared to be a cyber-triggered attack, dozens of Hezbollah operatives were wounded Tuesday afternoon when their encrypted pagers exploded. Well, 2,500, right? I don't want to talk about the videos. One thing is abundantly clear. Israel resides in Hezbollah's communications network, as well as Iran's air defense network, and has established dominance in the cyber domain, and now its supply chains. Why attack now is the bigger question. For Israel to reveal this level of penetration into Hezbollah's command and control communications, something big is likely in the making. It could be one final warning from Jerusalem to the leaders of Hezbollah and to Iran to cease and desist rocket attacks in northern Israel that have displaced more than 60,000 Israelis. Basically saying this is the final warning. We're living inside your head right free because we have now shown you that you had to change your cell phone service because you thought they were hacked, and then you go back to a somewhat antiquated form of communication, if you could even call it that, and we even have control of that. So essentially saying you can make the next move, but just know something bigger is ready for you. Fascinating. So I had to bring that up because that is a story that we somewhat have been trying to keep you updated on. I know when you talk about Israel and being attacked on all fronts, it's tough to keep up with all the new information, but that is a remarkable story. If that's something video-wise or picture-wise you want to see, you can find some of those photos. There's graphic ones up on Drudge Report that you would have to click on, but there's also some, perhaps you could say less graphic ones on New York Post if that's something that you want to learn more about. But we've got to take a short break. When we come back, a quick interview. I know it's a rebroadcast, but Harvest Fest, it's a big event here in Corning at the Gaffer District. It's a fun event. It's a blast. It's this Saturday. I shouldn't have said blast after the Hezbollah story. It is a lot of fun. I try to make it every year. Now, this year's going to be a busy year because I also have the Alzheimer's Walk, the Walk Down Alzheimer's in Watkins Glen a little bit after, at 4. So I'm going to try to hit up both. But I wanted to play that interview for you because we played it quite a few weeks ago. And I think it's important to keep up on not only what they've got planned, but so you know parking situations like that. So a quick interview. When we come back, keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Have you been unable to work for over a year due to a mental or physical disability?
Were you recently denied Social Security disability benefits? Great news. You may be eligible for money, back pay, relief.
If you've been pre-qualified and diagnosed with a recognized condition that prohibits you from working, our lawyers can file a claim to get your disability benefit.
Call us today and find out more.
Call now, 844-617-0440.
Enjoy at Finger Lakes at Hector Hideaway.
With a lunch and dinner menu, we serve a variety of delicious dishes made with locally sourced ingredients. Dine inside or out on the deck for gorgeous lake views and pair your meal with a local wine, beer, or beverage. We're open until 9 p.m. Thursday through Monday, but the bar is open until midnight Fridays and Saturdays. Stay tuned for live music. Visit us today at Hector Hideaway.
Come explore the magic of Knapp Winery. It's the perfect fusion of wine, food, and panoramic views. This charming destination will delight every palate with a curated wine flight, wine by the glass, or your favorite bottle to share. Some special finds to try are Knapp's iced wine, dry rosé, and Saperavi. While soaking in the view, you may want to enjoy a brunch, lunch, or dinner at the on-site restaurant. Book your experience at Knapp Winery today.
Save big on furniture packed with innovative features during Raymore and Flanigan's fall sale. Unwind in luxury with up to $1,000 off sectionals and sofas with power recliner and headrest. And get up to $250 off recliners with power lift and heating options. Plus, save on items with amazing features like heated massage seats, cooling technology, USB charging, and more. Enjoy huge savings on pieces that blend comfort and technology during Raymore and Flanagan's Fall Sale.
Motor riding season is in full swing, and there are more motorcycles on the road than ever before. Crashes involving motorcycles are often the result of a motorist failing to yield a right-of-way, or caused by a motorist who is distracted. And motorcycle riders are vulnerable and more exposed. So for them, crashes can result in serious injury or even death. Drivers and riders, we're all in this together. Please, be smart and pay attention to your driving. Share the road.
Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting from the Hesselson Studio here on Historic Market Street in Corning. And speaking of Historic Market Street, where in the world did the summer go? If we're talking about Harvest Fest, we can't...
Just look in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
That's where it went.
It is unbelievable. I cannot believe we're talking Harvest Fest, but it's bittersweet because it kind of signals the end of summer, but it's such a fun event.
It is. And boy, I don't know if you've realize this, but it just seems to grow bigger and better every year.
And what is really unique about it, as compared to maybe other towns, everything with the exception of one thing is absolutely free.
Yeah.
I mean, and we'll get to that exception, but it's an exception we're spending the money for. We're talking Harvest Fest coming up on Friday, September 20th and Saturday, September 21st. So let's start with some of the things, just what's new this year.
Well, this year, last year, Frank, we had a car show for the first time down in Block 5 near Butcher's Son and all of that. Well, that was super popular, and we're going to have another one this year on Friday night, and then that one on Saturday. It's a chance for folks to come and stroll and you know look at cool cars and grab a bite to eat, and the live music on all 5 blocks again.
Live music, as I said, so much. One thing I like every year, and it's become a tradition to make sure to see as many as I can, is pick your favorite scarecrow. I don't know why I enjoy that so much.
Can you believe some of the creativity?
I can't.
Yeah, likewise. And our guests really love trying to decide which one is the best. So a lot of debates about that.
Sure. It gets a little heated.
A little bit.
But there is live music throughout the weekend, and it's such an opportunity to see your neighbors, of course, but opportunity to maybe shop and dine at places you haven't been to in a while.
Yeah, I love it when the restaurants come up with some great specials, and I think the people that have come to our harvest event year over year, there was a group of people that came from the Philadelphia area, I think it was last year, in a hot debate over where you could get the best martini.
Okay.
And there where you could get the best, barbecue. So I'm not exactly sure who won that debate, but I bet you the people enjoying it.
I'm guessing as the debate went on and the more martinis tried, the more heated the debates became. Yeah. And they all started to taste really good.
And then they got munchy.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a good debate to have in today's world, especially. You mentioned this, and I don't want to put you on the spot. How long has Harvest Fest been going on?
Well, an iteration of it, because it used
changed
to be
through the years.
I want to say close to 20.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
I remember
to 20.
It's changed a lot, but as you mentioned, it gets better year after year and bigger year after year.
Yeah, and I think the bigger is the amount of people who come to this event, have a blast, and then tell their friends and family.
Exactly.
And they all come back. And it is a rain or shine event.
Yeah.
And I hope I didn't just jinx us, knock, knock. Even if it's a little cloud cover, it's a fantastic day.
It's still a blast. And something I saw, and let's talk first because I don't want to keep hiding this. We talked about the one event that does cost, but that's worth the investment, and that's a hayride around. Talk about fall, right? What's more fall than a hayride?
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how old you are.
No.
That's something you really, really enjoy. And we've partnered with those folks for many years because they also do the Crystal City Christmas carriage rides, and they're top notch.
Yes, sir.
And people really do enjoy it.
And then I don't know if this is new this year, but it caught my attention. Not that I'm any good at it, but so many people talk about cornhole.
Yes.
And there's a cornhole tournament at the Radisson, brought to you by the Radisson. Is that new this year?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is. They said they were doing it, and there's a club, I think, that's helping make it happen. And and they're like, what do you think? It's like, absolutely. You know, like you said, it's got a big following.
And people might not believe me, but if you're down here to Harvest Fest, watch it, because they're so good. I mean, I've caught myself spending way too much time if I accidentally catch it on like ESPN or something, and you can't turn away. It's a whole different level of you playing with your buddies in the backyard.
It's one of those things, at least in my perspective, it's like, yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Well, turns out.
No. Yeah, join that tournament. We'll see how easy it is. But I thought that was neat. Now, that is Saturday. I want to mention that. And I think you can register online. I don't want people to miss out, because I know that is very popular.
Yes, if they go to GafferDistrict.com, there is a link to get there.
Now, again, it's a great time. What do you personally, because you have a busy 2 days, 3 days, what do you look forward to the most?
I think I'm a broken record, but honest to God, it's the truth. Whether it's Harvest or any of our other events, I absolutely love seeing the event unfold on someone's face, whether it's a little kid or a senior citizen or anywhere in between. The fact that people come here, they can discover what an incredible experience this downtown is, and have a great time at an event. And I could be wrong, but I think if you come and you experience an event like Harvest, where it is free with the exception of a hayride, and you can spend your hard-earned money on great food and great shopping, and you want to come back, that does it for me.
I agree. I totally agree. And the memories that people make. And you couldn't ask for a more beautiful area this time of year. So it is a very memorable. I know you see so many people taking pictures, and there's a farmer's market aspect to it, and all the vendors. We don't even have time to mention all the vendors.
No. But well over 120.
Wow. So this really is an all-day event. If you want to see everything, you can't just hop in for an hour.
No, and I'd say come Friday night, enjoy dining on the street and the entertainment and everything Friday night, and then come back and spend the whole day on Saturday, and you're not going to be disappointed.
And like we said, live music throughout the day. You can find out all the schedule, and I have it here printed out somewhere right on the website.
Yes, absolutely. And follow us on social media. Between our marketing manager and our events manager, they come up with some pretty cool stuff.
They do.
You know, I'm a little biased. But it's like, man, I would have never thought of that. But it catches people's attention, and you know, then we love it when people share their photos from the event.
Oh, yeah. And you know what I think is interesting about the Gaffer District in general, and to kind of switch a little bit here, but we're still talking Harvest Fest from Friday, September 20th and Saturday, September 21st. I like that the Gaffer District is always adding new events, that it's not just, hey, we've got these great events that have been around 20 plus years. It's also, hey, this year let's get the Gus Macker here, or whatever the case may be, to just add more things to do. Sometimes we joke that it seems like we're busy every weekend here.
Yeah, and
it's almost,
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, we are here to basically tell the world about the Gaffer District, so they come here and they have a great time, and they invest in our local economy through our locally owned businesses. You know, it's not all fun and games, as they say. I mean, there's a reason. This community is steeped in a history of small business. And we're all about that continuing.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. How's the summer been overall? Just busy?
It seems like it's been really busy. I've seen a lot of happy people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Know?
Everybody talking about each of the events. You know, that's what's kind of fun. Hey, did you go? You know, to whatever the event is, and then you hear, I did this. You know, so that's always been a part of kind of visiting any of the events. I know we'll be talking about future events in the future. But before we go, Harvest Fest, again, September 20th and September 21st. What would you say to someone who's never been?
You may have thought that you have been to like the best Harvest event.
Yeah.
I challenge you to come and check ours out,
that.
because I dare say you're going to realize this, no kidding, is the best combination of experiences in a really beautiful place.
Yes, and block off some time. Enjoy, like you said, our great restaurants, all the great stores. I mean, we might as well. We're jumping through seasons so quickly. You can buy Christmas gifts already if you want. That's just jump right to it. But it is. It's a great event, and that's why I'm so glad you could be on the show. Best of luck, because you're busy that day.
Yeah, we love it though. It's a blast, even if you are working. And if anybody feels like volunteering, hey,
that's right.
we'll help them out.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because you do need volunteers for all of these events,
Yes,
correct?
we do.
Yeah.
We're a very small team,
Mm-hmm.
so we need a lot of help to pull it all together.
Okay.
And we have been very blessed to have some amazing volunteers.
Yeah, well, if you're going to volunteer, this is a nice place to volunteer. Harvest Fest, I mean, I'm sure people come back year after year.
It is. And, it's not like we're going to work you to the bone for 8 to 10 hours straight.
Right.
It's just a couple hours shift, and then you can go out and enjoy it with everybody else.
And where should they find out more? At the website to volunteer?
Website, or just give us a call at the office.
Okay.
And ask for Ginny.
There we go. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll see you at Harvest Fest. There we go. I made it through the whole thing and then screwed up right at the end. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much, Frank.
All right, we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
Struggling with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis? Talk to your doctor about #1 prescribed Entyvio, offering 2 maintenance options, including the Entyvio pen. Infusion and serious allergic reactions can happen during or after treatment. Entyvio may increase risk of infection, which can be serious. PML, a rare, potentially fatal brain infection, cannot be ruled out. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores, or are prone to infections. Liver problems can occur. Entyvio, relief, remission for real.
We were wasting so much money. The Koala team made the whole process so easy, and we saw savings on our very first bill.
The inspection was really eye-opening.
It's a great feeling knowing that we're truly energy efficient.
Now we're finally properly insulated.
Koala is a first-class company all the way.
It's time you discover Koala Insulation.
Hi, I'm Darren with Koala Insulation of Southern Tier. Give us a call. We are fully insured and we offer veteran and military discounts.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
Order call 1-800-970-9843. That's 1-800-970-9843, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at Saved by the.
And we are back. Pardon me, the frog in my throat. We are back with Frankly Speaking. I was going to cough right as we get back on the air. All right, a lot of great comments coming in from viewers, and thank you to the Gaffer District for being on the program. I know it's a repeat, excuse me, I was going to say rerun and repeat, of an interview we played before, but with Harvest Fest coming up on Saturday, I wanted to bring that to you so you'd be prepared. Okay, let's go to the comments. The first one I think is a really good point. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. And that's in reference to Hezbollah and the pager explosions yesterday. I believe it was 8 dead, around 2,500, 2,800, or 9 dead, 2,800 injured. Okay, next up, another comment. President Trump is going to make a play for New York, and he'll start in Long Island tonight. Good luck to him. It is interesting. He's going to be in Long Island. They got a ton of Secret Service. Guarded by Secret Service counter sniper teams, protective tent as he arrived in New York City ahead of the rally. We know that he had an amazing turnout in the Bronx. So I guess you could say it's making a play for New York. I mean, why else would he be giving a rally? Kind of interesting. We'll keep a close eye on that. That one fascinates me. I don't know what their internal polling is saying. All right, another comment from Ken. The pager attack was a brilliant move. Obviously, it was orchestrated by an adversary of Hezbollah. It not only sent a message that they can reach out in extraordinary ways, but identified a huge group of high-level operatives in the organization so they can be better watched. That's a great point, because you think that many people had those pagers. It gives you an idea of how many people are involved with Hezbollah. Also, I think one of the extra, for lack of a better term, fascinating pieces to this is they were already scared, meaning Hezbollah, that their cell phone systems had been hacked and infiltrated. So they go to antiquated technology. I assume maybe doctors still use pagers. I'm not sure, but something that you haven't heard or seen in quite some time, a pager, most likely, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't, they somehow they infiltrated that. And the message that sends, and to that point by the New York Post, that this is sending the message, you better stop now, because every move that you make, we're 3 steps ahead. So you think you're safe with pagers? What are you going to go to, the rotary phones next? Maybe they'd be able to infiltrate that too. A comment from a different viewer. This is Lynn. Hi, good morning, Lynn. I'm counting that as a wave. I have to say that Trump saying immigrants were eating pets was simply dumb. Boy, it goes back to when we talked about the debate, and we said the rabbit holes he got down. It gave the media an opportunity, and we were right, to laser-like focus just on that single issue and ask the question over and over. And Vance and Trump always, unfortunately, have to go to hostile media, because other than a few outlets, there only is hostile media when it comes to Republicans. So, yes, they could laser-like focus on that, hit on that nonstop, and then focus on Harris and how great she did in the momentum, and we're seeing that. But I'll continue with this comment from Lynn. But even worse is the amount of bomb threats that have come since, which in my opinion proves that these immigrants are not people who respect our society or the help that they have received. Excuse me. And why should we allow them to stay in our country if they don't respect the laws and customs of our society? Customs, yeah. Why is that? Why am I saying that wrong? And it's one of those kind of mornings, folks. If they don't appreciate the help they have already received, then yes, deport them back to their country of origin. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Lynn. I read that the mayor is saying that it's kind of like these swatting operations, that these threats are coming from overseas. It's a way to really make it so the media can continue to focus on it. It's really election interference in a lot of ways. So good points all around the board. Speaking of good points, this is not common. It could actually jeopardize this man's career. It could cost him a lot of work. Or if he gets enough pressure campaign, it may cause him to start endorsing a candidate. Because Pharrell Williams, if you've ever been to a wedding reception, you know his song Happy. Or really any place where there's a DJ. He says he does not do politics. I don't do politics, he said. In fact, I get annoyed sometimes when I see celebrities trying to tell you who to vote for. I'm one of them people who say, what the heck, shut up, nobody asked you. He went on to say he considers action more important. I would rather stay out of the way, and obviously I'm going to vote how I'm going to vote. I care about my people, and I care about the country. But I feel there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm really about the action. So kind of something that's not common. The reason I mention this is Taylor Swift is an example, but there's many others who have a soapbox, is the term they always use. And when they're not using their soapbox for far left causes, there'll be an outlet that will come out and say, how dare this celebrity not speak out about the injustices? And so they'll get scared and think it's going to cost them job, cost them work. So they'll come out and get political. Sometimes it really backfires. It could have backfired with Taylor Swift, because if you recall, just 2 days, I think, before she endorsed Kamala Harris, Variety put out a piece that said if she doesn't endorse Harris and soon, her past activism and her past work for Biden and Harris will mean nothing. Almost like she'll be a turncoat. It's a common trend, but then you'll have celebrities where it backfires. I think it was, I don't want to quote the name because I don't remember who it was. Yeah, I think it was Kevin Hart, the comedian, who was and still is so very popular. He came out and started making some jokes. And anyway, it ended up backfiring because he didn't do enough. And they started resurfacing old tweets that he made that had inappropriate comments in it. And so you really got to walk a fine line as we talk about the left controlling academia and controlling Hollywood and the media, it's a prime example of the power that they have to come to a celebrity. I'm not saying that Taylor Swift doesn't truly believe that Harris would be the best. I'm not even suggesting that. I'm just saying other celebrities through the years, I'm sure, have been closet conservatives that, or maybe not even conservative, moderates, but were forced in a way to become political. Look, for instance, at RFK Jr.'s wife. Now, RFK Jr. endorses Trump. Well, you had that Hollywood actor, his name escapes me. He didn't seem very common to me, but I think he is, coming out and saying RFK Jr.'s wife's not saying enough against her husband. It's kind of making that threat. If you want to work again in this business, you better come out and be very vocal in politics. That was a long-winded, not meant to be that long of a segment story. But Trump is being guarded by Secret Service, counter sniper teams, and protective tent as he arrives in New York City. The photos are very impressive. Law enforcement sources said the ex-president and his family are being treated to extra security details while visiting the city. We know that Melania received extra protection in the city. His security detail is larger than any other former president receives while in the 5 bureaus, the sources have said. Trump's family members are also getting enhanced details while in the city, with the NYPD stepping in to provide the additional protection. And we know that he will be in Long Island tonight, which should be a really interesting rally. We've got to take another short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Hesselsen's Hot Spring Hot Tub Sales Event is going on now. New technology, cleaner water, easy to use, hot water made simple. Hesselsen's, your locally owned and operated hot spring hot tub store since 1955, is offering huge incentives on their saltwater hot tubs. Deluxe lifters and steps, Bluetooth music, freshwater IQ, plus 0% interest-free financing options. Come to Hesselsen's today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselsen's Hot Spring saltwater hot tub. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselsen's.
Bathroom of your dreams is only a phone call away with BCI Bath and Shower. We can make your ordinary bath and shower extraordinary. This is not a cookie-cutter design. This is a complete custom build that will fit your every need. It's never been easier or more affordable than right now to get the bathroom of your dreams. We have the best monthly programs in the industry with payments as low as $99 per month or no payments, no interest for 18 months with approved credit. The hardest part of your new bathroom is gutting and building the tub and shower. If your bathing area is old, there could be damage behind the walls and possible mold and mildew, which can be a serious safety issue. At BCI, we don't cover a problem, we fix it. Call now to get a never clean glass treated door with the no-track system at half off for the first 50 callers. Factory trained, certified installers made in the USA and discounts for seniors and military. Call 800-704-1798. That's 800-704-1798.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We're talking about Secret Service, and we've got a lot of stories on this. We're also going to talk about more of the rhetoric. Keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. The Secret Service has told Donald Trump that they can't keep him safe on golf courses. The Secret Service has told Donald Trump that agents cannot keep him safe on his golf courses without significantly enhancing his security agreements. I should say even arrangements. Acting Secret Service Director Ronald Rowe informed the former president that a major increase in security resources and coordination is needed if he wants to keep playing golf at some of his courses. This is coming from the New York Times. Now, the Trump campaign voiced its frustration that Trump could be denied his favorite leisure activity over security concerns, even as Joe Biden has spent the remaining days of his presidency lounging on public Delaware beaches. That's a fair point. That's a fair criticism. But boy, to admit that, when you have and thank heavens, I mean, for that alleged assassin, or going to make the attempt, to have been on the golf course for 12 hours, and you see the shots that people took as paparazzi from some of those angles. I mean, I don't know how, and they did not sweep the perimeter. Trump says, this is yesterday at a campaign appearance, leave it to Trump to say this, you know, only consequential presidents get shot at. It's a dangerous business running for president. This was in the campaign event where Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was also his press secretary, she was moderating the event. Being president, it's a little bit dangerous, Trump continued. It's, they think race car driving is dangerous. No. They think bull riding, that's pretty scary, right? No. This is a dangerous business, and we have to keep it safe. That's when Sanders interjected and said, God is not done with President Trump. He's the toughest guy I know and the fighter our country most desperately needs right now, she added. Trump also noted at this campaign event that he had a nice conversation with President Biden and received a very, very nice phone call from Vice President Kamala Harris after the scare on Sunday. Now, we don't have to go through exactly the history. But Trump went on. This is, they said, these guys do a great job. This is Trump on the Secret Service. Now, they do need more people, and they've been complaining about that for a long time, but they did a great job. This guy was all set to do his number, saying that how he had set up was sophisticated. Trump went on to praise the woman who followed Routh, the would-be assassin, as he fled the scene and took down his license plate number, allowing law enforcement to track him down quickly. See, women are smarter than men, Trump said. I'd like to meet her. I'm going to meet her, I hope. All right, we have more on this. A couple of comments. We'll get to the comments in just a little bit because I see quite a few coming in, and I don't want to read them live on the air. Rubio called out Democrats for clearly influencing the second would-be Trump assassin with incendiary rhetoric. This is Marco Rubio, a senator from Florida, of course. If you repeatedly say someone is going to be the next Adolf Hitler or the next Mussolini, you eventually have to conclude that the overwhelming majority of people that see that they're going to say we better vote against this guy. But there are enough lunatics and nut jobs out there who are going to take the next step and say, well, this guy is truly evil. This guy's truly dangerous. If our democracy and our system of government is going to be wiped out if this guy wins, I need to take this guy out. This was on America's Newsroom where he stated this. And, they've been pushing the hate and the anger for so long. Unfortunately, there are going to be lunatics like this that have the wrong idea. Because you can't keep calling someone a threat to democracy, as Rubio said, comparing them to Hitler, comparing them to Mussolini, where you're not going to have some lunatic, to use his phrase, go overboard. We need to learn more about this individual, Rubio continued. We need to learn how he got there, how the parameter wasn't secured, who he was and what was behind it. But I think we know enough that some of the things he's posted to say that he clearly was influenced in some way by this rhetoric about Trump being dangerous dictator in waiting. The day after the second assassination attempt, Clinton accused Trump of Hillary Clinton, of throwing out red meat to get people riled up and insisted he should be working to calm the waters if he were a true leader. So you have people still doubling and I would argue tripling down with this kind of angry rhetoric. We've got more examples of this. Some other updates on the attempted assassination of the former president's second attempt. We have quite a few things here about the campaigns as well. The Trump campaign, the Harris campaign. Got a couple of New York State issues that I hope that we'll be able to get to before the program is over. But let's take the last break of hour number one as we sail along quickly here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer.
How do I know if I have a case?
Call 844-292-6222 and consult with one of our attorneys to find out if the products you used are part of the lawsuit. Your eligibility will also depend on how often you use these hair products and your specific cancer diagnosis. If you regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. Call 844-292-6222.
How much will it cost to talk to an attorney?
There is no fee unless we win your case. Call 844-292-6222 for your free case review.
The BIC's website is Here, now, WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather, up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news, here, now. WYDCTV.com.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. A couple of comments before we wrap up this hour. I agree. The pagers exploding is right out of a spy movie. Absolutely. Brilliant way to pinpoint specific bad actors without killing hundreds from a missile's collateral damage. But of course, it is sad. And we all agree about the little girl being killed. But it is a pin, they talk about pinpointing and how Israel can pinpoint, even though the media tries to suggest, and these anti-Israel protesters are suggesting it's like unrestricted killing in some way, which is just, many people pointed out. I mean, we've seen it with in Afghanistan and in Iraq and elsewhere, that it's not an easy job to pinpoint. And Israel has went above and beyond to ensure the least collateral damage. But it's amazing. It's right out of a movie to think, and then to know. I mean, that's kind of the giveaway, right? It's like the more aggressive version of the ink bag, and if you were to rob a bank, where now you know who's involved in Hezbollah and who had access to those pagers. Next up, Frank. Eating dogs and cats is an abhorrent idea to our society. But unfortunately, if you put yourself in the mindset of the poorest people in the impoverished countries with little access to nourishment, I bet it's more commonplace than you think. It could very well be. I'm not sure. Thank you, Ken. Another comment from a different viewer. You have to admit the rhetoric from the left towards Trump has been akin to the rhetoric that they said about Osama bin Laden and how they had to take him out. I've got some of that rhetoric coming up a little bit later on in the program, just to show you that this idea of unifying and this idea of calming things down seems to be only one-sided, meaning they'll blame Trump, victim blame Trump for the second assassination attempt on his life. They'll blame him, and then, he's horrible, his supporters are horrible, but we've got to really tamp down this rhetoric. It's amazing. But first, as a quick update for the end of this hour, this has kind of caught my attention. Senator Richard Blumenthal, the Democrat from Connecticut, you may remember that name. He's accused the Harris-Biden administration's Department of Homeland Security of stonewalling a congressional investigation into the first assassination attempt against former President Trump. I'm reaching the point of total outrage, he said, because the response from the Department of Homeland Security has been totally lacking. In fact, I think it's tantamount to stonewalling in many respects. Wow. The Department of Homeland Security has to be more forthcoming, not only to me, but to the American people. And it has to do it quickly, or it will fuel the conspiracy theories that are so dangerous to our democracy, as well as undermining its own credibility. And he's got a point there. Many people had said it at the time. If answers aren't given quickly, it will, of course, lead to conspiracy theories. I'll certainly support a subpoena. It takes very little drafting to do a subpoena here, and even less time. I know how to do subpoenas. I'm ready, willing, and able to use the subpoena process if necessary to get information from the Department of Homeland Security. And many people have said it seems as if there's kind of, I'm out of time, but it seems as if there's kind of that we're covering our you-know-whats, not wanting to give information of just how far this fell apart. Senator Ron Johnson echoed Blumenthal's frustration. They're holding all the cards close to their vest. And their lack of cooperation is driving suspicion and driving conspiracy theories. All right, this hour of Frankly Speaking is through. Hour number 2 on its way in mere moments. I hope that you'll stay with us. No more guests. We had our guests. We played it in the 6 o'clock hour. Now it's just you and I, with plenty of time to talk about all the issues of the day. A little bit more about the assassination attempt. We're also going to talk about the campaigns themselves, maybe a few state and local issues if we have the opportunity. So stay with us. You're not going to want to miss hour number 2. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox. Hopefully I'm not as tongue twisted in the next hour. We'll be right back.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
Hesselson's Hot Spring Hot Tub Sales Event is going on now. New technology, cleaner water, easy to use, hot water made simple. Hesselson's, your locally owned and operated hot spring hot tub store since 1955, is offering huge incentives on their saltwater hot tubs. Deluxe lifters and steps, Bluetooth music, freshwater IQ, plus 0% interest-free financing options. Come to Hesselson's today and see why your next hot tub should be a Hesselson's Hot Spring saltwater hot tub. Remember, it's always fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
¿Qué color? Perfecto, amigo.
Gracias. Thank you.
What's wrong, mijo?
Donating to a pet's medical care is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeople.
And here we are in hour number 2. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking. Broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on historic Market Street in Corning. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We've been talking about a lot this morning. If you're just tuning in, if your alarm just went off, we've been talking about the second assassination attempt on former President Trump. We've had some other issues about stress factors here in America, getting to dangerous levels. 3 days a week, the average American has their head spinning due to stress or brain fog due to stress. And we pose the question, are you that stressed? And many people are saying yes, because of the media's coverage of the election in general. Well, I've got to give credit, and we're going to jump right back in. There's other topics we'll be discussing as well. But Scott Jennings from CNN, I wouldn't say I've been critical in the past, but always have been apprehensive to go all in with what Scott Jennings has said, because even a Republican on CNN, you're sometimes not sure if they're a real Republican. Scott Jennings has been hitting it out of the park. I don't know if on all of his appearances, but on some of his appearances, such as the quote that, and I'm now going to paraphrase, but I've been mentioning a lot, which is he highlighted the fact that Democrats have had the White House for 12 out of the 16 years. So when they talk about we're not going back and we're talking about what we're going to do day one, well, so everything that's wrong in this country is because of those 4 years of Trump? Is that what they're selling us? Unfortunately, I think that is what they're trying to sell us. But he was on his own network, CNN, senior political commentator Scott Jennings. He blamed his own network for allowing former President Trump's rhetoric to be mischaracterized by the Harris campaign in a way designed to radicalize, meaning that the media coverage shares in the blame of this kind of rhetoric that has led to lunatics, to use Rubio's term, getting this horrible idea like we saw on Sunday. Scott Jennings said that, or he argued that President Biden and Vice President Harris's rhetoric is what's causing him to be shot at. This is what Jennings said. I have to say, when I see what Democratic politicians say about Donald Trump, when I see what Democratic commentators say about Donald Trump, and their platform is built on a bunch of lies, frankly, that are designed to radicalize a political base, it makes me wonder, how much do they really care about the violence that you and I both agree is terrible? Is how much, and he raises a good point. If they're continuing to radicalize people, if they're continuing to push lies and these certain narratives, how much do they care about the violence? That's the question that Scott Jennings is proposing. The underpinning of Harris's campaign, I mean, she repeats it herself. Quote, Trump will be a dictator on day one. I mean, this country fights dictators. That's what our history. We fight dictators. That's why the panel erupted to protest. Trump joked, and we don't have to go what. Let me say. Trump joked during a town hall in December that he would not be a dictator except for day one. It was a clear joke, but of course they always take him to be literal, not figurative. And we've talked. Obviously, I didn't come up with that. That's been said a million times. Other than day one, we're closing the border and we're drilling. After that, I'm not a dictator. That was Trump's joke. Jennings said, and he referenced the "there'll be a bloodbath" comment of an example of Trump being taken out of context when he predicted an economic bloodbath for the automotive industry should President Biden win. And he highlighted that. And because Harris continues to use that bloodbath term, she used it in the debate. It is said by every Democrat working for or around Harris's campaign every day on this network and every other one, meaning every other network, Jennings said. The bloodbath thing is stated every single day. Use of the word bloodbath when he was talking about vehicle manufacturing jobs in the United States. Vice President Harris improperly and unfairly mischaracterized that as him saying there would be a bloodbath if he were elected. However, she did not say that if Trump were elected, there would be a bloodbath. Jennings argued that these kinds of false narratives are part of the Democrat Party's strategy. I know you have interviewed and had people out here and have watched the same coverage I have. The bloodbath garbage, it is a pillar of the Democratic campaign against Trump, as is dictator, as is to eliminate the U.S. Constitution. So taking these comments out of context are designed to radicalize their base. Good for Scott Jennings. That's definitely the kind of thing that could cost you your jobs. So let's take a look at some of this rhetoric that is being used. Even after the second assassination attempt, there is no calming of the rhetoric, toning down the rhetoric. MSNBC's Joy Reid. Now, was it Joy Reid yesterday that said all the shooters were white men Trump supporters or something? Never quite understood her appeal, but she has her own program on MSNBC called The Readout. She said, "We begin tonight with a visit to the upside down, because it's only there that Donald Trump may be able to get away with attempting to lay the blame for the violent state of our politics at the feet of Vice President Kamala Harris and the Democrats." Okay, interesting. Now, to J.D. Vance's point was, Trump has been shot at twice, right? So this is, again, Joy Reid. If Merriam-Webster was looking for a new example to help define the term gaslighting, they should look no further than Trump's claim that the latest apparent assassination attempt against him is a direct result of the, quote, highly inflammatory language from the other side. And following the claim, in his next breath, he goes on to use the same inflammatory language against them, saying, quote, "These are people that want to destroy our country. It is called the enemy from within. They are the real threat." It is as if Trump believes we all have a collective case of amnesia from, his entire lifetime of using that rhetoric against anyone and everyone who looks at him the wrong way. I guess this is to ignore, in a way, that there has been 2 assassination attempts. But I've got to say, just as a side note, when it comes to politics, there's few things that I think if you follow as closely as so many viewers in this audience do, follow the news and follow political commentary, gaslighting is really misused and overused, isn't it? Same with nothing burger. People say, it's a nothing burger. There's just a few terms I think people have in their back pocket that they believe makes them next level intelligence in the political scheme of things. So Joy Reid saying, if Merriam-Webster's was to look for a new example to help define the term gaslighting, they should look no further than Trump's claim that the latest apparent assassination attempt against him is a direct result of the, quote, highly inflammatory language from the other side. But to J.D. Vance's point, and I don't know how, I wouldn't say it wasn't eloquent, but the way that he made it was, Donald Trump has been shot at twice. No one, thank God, is going after Kamala Harris. And then, like I said, thank God, no one wants that. But you cannot downplay the fact that there's been 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. And what he was saying there, J.D. Vance, is one party seems to have this real issue with violence and real issue with hate. Senator Chris Murphy, we're going to go through a lot of these like we did yesterday, and they'll get a little frustrating. Senator Chris Murphy reacted to the assassination attempt on Donald Trump by claiming Trump himself is the one inspiring political violence, even going as far as saying that Trump endorses political violence. On the same day that Murphy placed his post on X, failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton told MSNBC's Rachel Maddow that Trump is a danger to our country and the world. And the list goes on and on. So this is what Senator Murphy says. No leader has done more to inspire and endorse political violence than Donald Trump. Does that seem to be the right time, the timing on that, after I mean, obviously, Senator Chris Murphy does not like Donald Trump. But is that the right timing on this? Is that the place where you want to shoot your shot and make your point right then? It makes take a step back, take a breather. But no, it doesn't work like that anymore. That's why you're also seeing on the political aspect of the people pushing for gun control on the back of this. But continuing. When Kamala Harris was at the National Association of Black Journalists on Tuesday, she was asked a question about the Secret Service. One of the journalists asked her whether she personally felt safe given the failures of the Secret Service. This is what Kamala Harris, and we may talk a little bit more about her appearance at the National Association of Black Journalists. There's a few other things that are good takeaways from that, but this is what she said in reference to Secret Service. I mean, you can go back to Ohio. Not everybody has Secret Service. And there are far too many people in our country right now who are not feeling safe. I mean, I look at Project 2025 and I look, like the Don't Say Gay laws coming out of Florida. Members of the LGBTQ community don't feel safe right now. Immigrants or people with an immigrant background don't feel safe right now. Women don't feel safe right now. So yes, I feel safe. I have Secret Service protection. But that doesn't change my perspective on the importance of fighting for the safety of everybody in our country. Now, by the way, there is no Don't Say Gay legislation in Florida. The reference in Ohio is based on a remark by Harris in which she claimed that Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, were responsible for threats against Haitian migrants in Springfield. Governor Mike DeWine, who is a Republican, has said the stories of pets being eaten is false, but the bomb threats were hoaxes from abroad, playing into this election interference idea from foreign entities. So instead of answering about feeling safe, which he eventually gets to it, it's an easy time for her to attack Trump. And I don't think I can reiterate this point anymore. Trump had nothing to do with Project 2025. That is exactly why the moderators at ABC are losing all credibility, because when they're fact-checking Trump 5 times in real time, interrupting, awkwardly fact-checking him, Harris can say something like that, Trump's Project 2025, and get away with it. Now, this is not the debate that I'm talking about, but I'm saying at the debate, it was another prime example of how the cards were stacked against Trump. That was made clear by the moderator, who said that, we had practiced ahead of time different scenarios to think what Trump would say so that we could be ready with that fact check, because they saw Biden have such a disastrous performance and they didn't trust Harris, apparently, to be able to handle her own campaign and handle her own debate. So they said, we have to step in at certain times. She said it. I mean, obviously, I'm adding to it and reading between the lines, but that's exactly what it was. Now, we have to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll be right back.
Wow. You found it.
I did.
The History of Water Part 6? I've been dying to read this.
I know, honey.
I always wanted that book.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install one of our high-efficiency water softeners, we're thinking about hard water and limescale buildup, so you can just think about longer-lasting appliances and softer skin and hair. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
Attention homeowners. Are you tired of paying too much for your energy bills? It's time you discover Koala Insulation of the Southern Tier, a premier insulation contractor. The professionals at Koala Insulation can give you a free, no-obligation insulation evaluation. It's one of the best home improvement investments you can make. Give us a call at 607-463-0616.
Discover Koala Insulation of Southern Tier. We are fully insured. Visit koalainsulation.com and find us near you.
How many have you tried to clean a stubborn mess but end up with no success? What you need is the all-new waterproof Ruby Horsepower, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrubber that cleans faster and easier, guaranteed. Watch, baked on oven grease is no match. It blasts away dirt and grime in no time. The power comes from our rotating brushes, spinning at 350 RPM. The incredible torque fights calcium, mildew, mold, and more. Take Take it in the kitchen, where it busts through caked-on crud, or outside and tackle tough tasks with ease. Get your Ruby horsepower with 4 additional attachments, all for just $39.99. Great news! They're in stock and ready to ship. Due to high demand, only 2 per order. Order now.
Call 1-800-980-2344. That's 1-800-980-2344, or visit horsepowerscrubber.com. So call 1-800-980-2344 now.
Sometimes in life, in order to move forward, it helps to look back.
To learn from the pioneers and trailblazers.
To gain inspiration from those who came before us.
To show us what it means to act with empathy and to show that love has no labels.
Join WWE and Love Has No Labels throughout the year in celebrating people from all communities and heritages.
Because when love has no labels,
that's a love we can all fight for.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Thank you for joining us. A couple of quick comments from viewers. First one, morning from Cuca Lake. Well, hey, good morning. Enjoy the beautiful view. I'm sure it's lovely out there. Next comment. Frank, the cynic in me, makes me wonder, what is the ulterior motive for Richard Blumenthal, a good Democrat from Connecticut, for questioning the deep state? He's not just worried about the rule of law and protection of Republicans. He must be posturing for something. It is very shocking to have him come out and even use the term stonewalling on this. I like admitting you're a cynic right from the jump. I understand that sentiment very much, Ken. It did raise some red flags, wondering what it's all about, because I don't think it's just he's outraged. And again, this is a cynical view, but I would agree that is not very like Senator Richard Blumenthal. So thank you for that. So a couple of quick announcements before we jump back into this, because let me read the last one. And then after we talk about, we end our conversation about another assassination attempt and move on to the campaigns. I do have a couple quick announcements because this weekend's a very busy weekend. So I want to get through some of those. I don't want to miss them. Okay. Michael Goodwin writes, he had it coming. It's his own fault. Don't blame us. That sums up how leading Democrats and their media handmaidens are reacting to the second attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Remorse and concern about him, or even the perils of the rising tide of everyday violence, are in short supply. Early voting has started, and they weren't going to waste a day expressing anything other than hostility for the opponent they love to hate. And so the chorus of Democrats and their propagandists are fending off every chance that they bear any responsibility for the repeated attempts to kill the leader of the Republican Party. Just because they compare him to Hitler and Mussolini doesn't mean they actually want him dead. And a Democrat congressman wasn't to be taken literally when he said Trump had to be, quote, eliminated. The blanket denials are also aimed and making sure Trump doesn't get any political benefit from being the target of another gunman. To grant him even an iota of sympathy would be to give sympathy to the devil. Leave it to Hillary Clinton to be the first to reach the bottom of the barrel. Trying to hawk yet another book about herself. How many books does she have about herself? And are they that successful, out of curiosity? But isn't everything about her, says Michael Goodwin? She complained on MSNBC that the media aren't tough enough on Trump the day after the assassination attempt. Quote, the press is still not able to cover Trump the way they should, Clinton had the audacity to tell Rachel Maddow. I don't understand why it's so difficult for the press to have a consistent narrative about how dangerous Trump is, his demagoguery, his danger to our country and the world, and stick with it. This is just like when Nancy Pelosi called Katie Tur a Trump apologist. I mean, that's how good Democrats normally have it, because the media is always in their back pocket, but not even enough in this instance. They want even more adherence. It's shocking she would have the audacity to say that. But she knows, and other Democrats know, they can get away with it, of being critical of the media for not doing enough against Trump, because the media's not going to turn on them. I mean, the media didn't even turn on Kamala Harris for not giving a press conference for how many days and only giving a few hand-selected interviews. What I don't understand, says Michael Goodwin, is how much harder on Trump the media could get or could be without suffering spontaneous combustion. But Maddow didn't disagree with her guest, nor was she willing to discomfort viewers by reminding them that Clinton funded the phony Steele dossier in a bid to steal an election she couldn't win. Naturally, the New York Times signaled its approval of the Democrats' defiant stance. In top front page piece on Tuesday was headlined, quote, "The anger that defines and threatens Trump." So he's no angel, says Michael Goodwin, which is another way of suggesting he asked for it. Peter Baker, a once sensible Washington reporter who has gone to the dark side, opined that Trump was both a seeming inspiration and an apparent target of the political violence coursing through America. Wow. But the only evidence of political violence inspired by Trump he could cite were bomb threats against Springfield, Ohio, the town where Trump wrongly claimed Haitian migrants were eating residents' cats and dogs. He has long favored the language of violence in his political discourse, Baker wrote. Alas, the news Baker decided wasn't fit to print was that Ohio's governor announced Monday that all 33 of the bomb threats made against Springfield were hoaxes, and most coming from foreign soil, without identifying any country. The Times didn't always play the victim. The paper published an infamous editorial linking Sarah Palin to a 2011 Arizona mass shooting that killed 6 people and left Democrat Representative Gabby Giffords with permanent brain injuries. No, at that time, they weren't playing the victim. The Times claimed that a Palin-related super PAC was to blame because it supposedly produced a map that put the districts represented by Giffords and other Democrats under what the paper called crosshairs. The Times later called the claim a mistake and apologized, but Palin's lawsuit for defamation was reinstated earlier this year after an appeals court vacated a trial verdict favoring the Times, citing judicial errors. Not to be outdone, the Washington Post bellowed its strange view that Trump is no victim with 2 separate pieces. One said the assassination plot gave Trump another chance to blame Democrats as dangerous, and the second declared that Trump's charges against Democrats' rhetoric were made without evidence. Well, we can think of 2 examples of evidence, and to think that it gives Trump another chance. Yes, the man would want to have assassination attempts against his life to have a chance to blame Democrats. And again, the media's not giving him the coverage on this conversation, only to criticize him. The cold-hearted tone recalls an imbalance pointed out by the late Charles Krauthammer. Krauthammer said Republicans think Democrats are wrong, while Democrats think Republicans are evil. And he said that frequently. The distinction is significant. Being wrong can be corrected. Being evil puts you beyond the pale and requires a far different remedy. Trump, of course, is no shrinking violet, as we all know, which is why his appeal is so enduring among those who felt abandoned by both parties. While I find his boorish insults and name-calling juvenile, Michael Goodwin says, he doesn't use language that invokes violence, which Joe Biden used just before the first murder attempt in July when Trump was wounded and narrowly escaped death. Quote, "It's time to put Trumps in a bullseye," Biden said at the time. This was a few days before the Butler shooting. Biden later apologized, but Trump's current opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, never backed off a similar tune she's been singing for months. She declared that Trump is a threat to our democracy and fundamental freedoms. What a coincidence. The same month, Ryan Routh, the radical arrested Sunday in Florida, echoed her words. He posted that, quote, "Democracy is on the ballot and we cannot lose. We cannot afford to fail. The world is counting on us to show the way." Apparently, Routh, like so many Dems, is not satisfied with the party's use of the courts and criminal justice system to take Trump off the field. In their warped mind, there can be no limits as long as he's still standing and has a chance to win the White House again. The Democrats' denial of any responsibility and the media effort to turn the Florida case on its head by blaming Trump would be almost comical if they didn't carry such grave implications. There are signs of a growing acceptance of violence as part of the political landscape, as long as the other team can be blamed for starting it. Defending comparisons to Hitler and talking about a bullseye on a rival always crosses the line. Moreover, justifying that language means we are more likely to get more violence aimed at the candidates. From there, it's a short leap to imagine that voters will one day be seen as legitimate targets too, as they are elsewhere. Without doubt, there is much riding on this election. Harris and Trump are offering such different visions for the country that on most key issues, they are at opposite ends of the spectrum. Yet those sharp differences cannot become justification for violence. If they do, America as we know it no longer exists, and the world's greatest experiment in self-government will have failed. That was Michael Goodwin. I thought that was a very good piece. We got to take a break. When we come back, some announcements, a lot of comments coming in. Keep those waves coming in, too. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll be back right after this.
You just have to get in the seat of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Not because of how easy it is to use, or because of our expert dealers, Not even because it has implements for every job. You just have to get in the seat, because breaking ground on your dream home feels pretty great.
Right now at Lindsay Equipment, get up to $1,000 off and 0% financing for 60 months on all 2023 John Deere compact tractors in stock.
I'm Marianne Burt. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me, to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
Time yet?
It's time.
Let's go and check for dinner.
Oh, terrific.
Donating pet food is one of the many ways you can help families in your community. Pets and people belong together. Learn more at petsandpeopletogether.org.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers, he connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at Finish Your Diploma.
And we are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. A few comments here. What a life it must be for your job to be watching just one person. Watch everything they say and do. Then do your very best to find the negative side to it. Then feed it back to your boss. I'm sure it's not just one person. No, there's many people. I'm sure if you're referencing people watching Trump, that many in the media, that's their only job. Thank you. Next comment. My very thoughts on Blumenthal when I initially heard it. So another viewer backing up what you had to say, Ken, and what many of us started to think when we saw Richard Blumenthal's strong statements saying stonewalling in the Secret Service investigation. Okay. And we had to save this comment for last of this segment. If you look up stress relief in the dictionary, it'll say, see, frankly speaking, and go to church on Sunday because that's when Meet the Press is on. Thank you very much. As if you want to relieve some stress, don't watch Meet the Press, that's for sure. Hey, I got to mention, because and I'm not just referencing that last comment and how nice it was and how great the viewers of Frankly Speaking are. They are. Because when it comes to it, and I'm going to put this up on the screen. Oop, wrong one. Yesterday, as I update that, yesterday when we had our guest on, when it was about the Alzheimer's, the walk to end Alzheimer's. And I said, people could donate or register to volunteer or register to walk. It's not too late to walk. It's at Watkins Glen International Racetrack this Saturday at 4 p.m. And I also said, if you don't want to walk, you can donate to Team Big Fox. It's going to be me, our salesperson, Joe Zaprzinski. I mentioned Elisa, who you know from the Cardboard Boat Regatta, and also with her time here on Frankly Speaking with Sylvia, the international exchange student. So I went after the program and was checking my email, doing some updating, and the great viewers of this program donated so much to our team, and I can't thank you enough. Even receiving a donation for Elisa for her time on Frankly Speaking. And I told her it was for Sylvia, I'm sure, but she took it for her team. So you make up, there's 4 of us on there, and that makes the Team Big Fox. And I was just thinking, the same thing happened with the Salvation Army. When we bring up these charitable organizations, because this program is so focused on community and making our community a better place, then when I put this charitable stuff up to hopefully improve our community, people jump at the chance to make those donations. I don't think you'd see the same thing on MSNBC on Rachel Maddow's show, right? unless they put up, here's how to donate to some super PAC, or here's how to donate to a political committee or a candidate. That's where they want the government to come in and take your money and say what quote unquote charities it goes to. They don't want to actually make the outright donation themselves. Have you noticed that? It's always, well, we want you have to donate to this cause, or your taxpayer dollars are going to NPR or Planned Parenthood or whatever. It's never, I wonder if you just want to donate yourself personally. So it goes to show you how amazing you are out there in the Frankly Speaking community. And the show, of course, is all about you, and it's all about your comments. And that's why I can't thank you enough. So that's why we put that up on the screen. We had so many great donations, and we're trying to reach our goal. I am now over the goal myself personally, but the team is trying to reach the goal, and we're going to have a blast. And if you are going to walk, if you say, no, I'm not donating to your team, Frank, I'm on my own team, or I'm going to register a team, or I'm going to volunteer. If you are there, come over and say hi. You're going to see us. There's going to be about a group of 4 of us, I believe. We'll be there, hopefully with some big Fox gear on. But if not, if you watch the show, you know me. So come on over and say hi, and let's have a nice chat on our walk, our 2.9 mile walk, I think it is, 2.7 mile walk. And that's coming up this Saturday. So thank you again for the donations. Keep them coming in if you are so inclined. Another quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on all the things that are going on this weekend, because we're going to be talking about them the next few days. But I just received this, and I know you'd be upset if I didn't bring it up. And this is our friends, I should say, from Armed Women of America. If you recall, they brought me a Christmas tree last year. That was beautiful. Well, they're having, because October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month, they're preparing for October. So they are going to have a tent located at Tractor Supply in Painted Post on Saturday from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. where you can drop off these items listed on the screen. If you can't see them, because I know it's kind of a big flyer and I know it's a little difficult, so let me read through them. A large size shampoos, conditioner, body wash, and lotion, disinfectant hand soap, deodorant, female and male, toothpaste, brushes, combs, hair ties, towels, washcloths, twin sheets, pillowcases, pillows, comforters, twin, storage containers for the kitchen, toilet brushes, plungers, cleaning supplies for the bathroom, cleaning supplies, disinfectant wipes, bathroom rug sets, PJs, large, medium, and small. Sweatsuits are good too. Leggings, extra large, large, medium, and small. Underwear, sizes 4 through 8. And sports bras, large, medium, and small. So if you can make it over to Tractor Supply and Painted Post on Saturday between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. to donate for this amazing cause where the Armed Women of America supporting the Steuben County Domestic Violence Shelter. Okay, there. Okay, let's talk about the campaigns. Oh, thank you for the waves coming in. Former CNN host Don Lemon, who's been saying some pretty wackadoo things lately, he was on Joy Reid's program. And Joy Reid said, "You did recently speak with a lot of black men supporting Trump. I have to ask you about it." Lemon said, "I've been talking to a lot of black men who say they're supporting Donald Trump. Who are you voting for?" And so they would show some of his interviews. One unidentified man said, "I think the reason why the money he gave away last time he was in office is what they're looking for again." Now, Reid said, "What do you make of that? What do you make of black men as disdainful as Trump is to black people?" That's what Joy Reid said. Again, toning down the rhetoric, right? Lemon said, "I think you'll agree as a journalist, as an American, you should have some knowledge before you say you're going to vote for them, because before you go into the polling place." And a lot of them said, "I liked him because he gave me the stimulus check." I'm like, that did not come from Donald Trump. His name was on it. It came from a Democrat Congress and Nancy Pelosi. I do think that some of it's bravado. I also think that it's aspirational. Donald Trump, devil may care, is flying around in airplanes, on gold toilets, beautiful women, and all those things. I think maybe men who don't have an agency that white men have in society, maybe it is aspirational to them, and they want to be like him, and therefore they say they will vote for him. So do you see how they are spinning any kind of what you would say is positive stories towards Trump? Because obviously not getting the response that he expected. Even CBS News having to admit on CBS Mornings that while Adriana Diaz was traveling through Nevada, she interviewed people at restaurants, and they don't like when this happens. They found everybody was really excited to vote for Donald Trump. Diaz said Spanish settlers called this Nevada, meaning snowy. But down on the ground, the state is sizzling hot, just like what's cooking at this smoker. It's the outdoor kitchen hands of the award-winning Brothers Barbecue in Reno, where the alluring smell of pulled pork pulls people in like these friends. And so they asked, what's important to you? One woman said, I'm extremely concerned about the border. Diaz said, we had so much fun. But what was incredible is in every single restaurant, the people willing to talk to us, we could only find one Harris supporter in every restaurant. We left no stone unturned. I bet you didn't. I approached every single person except for this one. This guy I think had too many drinks at the bar. But people are really excited about Trump. Boy, they hate to admit that, don't they? Oh, also, and I know I'm running late. Bear with me, because we're talking about the campaigns now. Tulsi Gabbard, I know we have a lot of Tulsi Gabbard fans out there, said she would be honored to join a potential Trump administration. I feel I can make the most impact in these areas of national security and foreign policy in bringing about the changes that President Trump talks about, she said. Working to prevent World War III and bringing the U.S. back from the brink of nuclear war would be among her priorities. War should be a last resort, Gabbard said. She also supported former President Trump's plans to end the war in Ukraine. So Tulsi Gabbard saying there are a lot of people who I meet in a lot of different places every day who are former Democrats or people who are leaving the Democrat Party, people who recognize the same things I have and experience the same things that I have and realize that the Democrat Party of today doesn't stand for them, doesn't stand for freedom. It doesn't stand for civil liberties, doesn't stand for peace. So she would be honored to join a potential Trump administration. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Our water's better tasting, it's better for the planet.
That's great, sir. Can I take your order?
Oh, number 3.
At Culligan, we get that most people don't think about water like we do, and that's okay. You see, when we install our drinking water and softening systems, we're thinking about filtering contaminants and the minerals that make water hard. So you can just think about softer, cleaner, better tasting water. At Culligan, we think about your water, so you don't have to.
Call today to schedule your free water test.
What do you do when your tire goes flat and there's no air anywhere? You reach for Bullseye Pro, the smarter, faster, hands-free way to fill it up with air. Bullseye Pro is equipped with a rechargeable lithium-ion power plant. So fast and so convenient. It's like the power of an air compressor in the palm of your hand. Look, you can inflate all 4 tires on a single charge. It has a built-in smart pressure digital sensor that gauges and automatically stops when the set tire pressure is reached. Easily inflate pool toys, exercise balls, and more. Call or go online now and get the complete Bullseye Pro inflation system for the factory direct price of just $79.99. Plus, we'll ship your entire order free, and we'll give you a 50% discount on a second one. Order now.
Order call 1-800-970-9843. That's 1-800-970-9843, or go to getbullseyepro.com.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance, plus stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor for 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hasselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Thank you, everybody, joining us this morning. So we're talking about the campaigns, and this is interesting because we mentioned earlier kind of the fact-checking during the debate. And I don't remember how it came up in our conversation. But did you see that David Muir, his newscast on ABC, has seen a ratings decline after that controversial debate performance? It was admitted by Lindsay Davis, his co-moderator, that they had prepared ahead of time, practiced to fact check Donald Trump not to fact check Kamala Harris. So World News Tonight anchor David Muir may have driven away some viewers after that performance. Muir's World News Tonight averaged 6.7 million viewers on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the 3 episodes following the debate, after averaging 7.6 million leading up to the debate. The 12% drop in viewers is more significant than slight declines that CBS News, NBC Nightly News saw when comparing the 3 episodes following ABC's debate to the year-to-date totals. So, listen, I'm not reading too much into it, but I think it is worth noting. While it's unclear if Trump supporters have turned out ABC's newscast on the heels of the debate, the former president has blasted it as one-sided, saying every one of them should have been questioned by David Muir, who I've lost a lot of respect for. Everyone's lost respect for him, Trump said. It was so one-sided. It was 1 against 3. And it was. I mean, I think, and I've asked this before, you know, if you're a Democrat watching, I know there are quite a few. How does that feel? You know, Republicans only know what it feels like to be in the hostile media as a rule, right? When you see J.D. Vance give an interview over the weekends, or you see the press conferences that Trump held, only used to hostile territory, only used to being the one that has the fact checks made against them. So what's it feel like when you know the cards are stacked in your deck? Does it bother you, or is it, hey, why would I complain? I want to see Harris win. So I'm just curious how that must feel, because even when Trump had the Republican debate back in 2016 and on Fox, it wasn't friendly towards him with Megyn Kelly, and you remember. So I never experienced that, and I'm just curious what that looks like when you're on the business end of seeing the bias used in your favor. Speaking of the debate, just quickly, Disney's Dana Walden, who is extraordinary friends with Kamala Harris. And this was one of the major concerns about ABC, and we know that Kamala has given an interview with ABC, an affiliate, since that time. Dana Walden, who oversees ABC News, again, a close friend to Kamala Harris, she was in a position to dictate how the debate was run, was on the red carpet at the Emmy Awards. When she was asked by Variety if she had anything to say about the controversy, which the outlet described as a far-right talking point. How do you like that? Not that, hey, do you see any conflict of interest that one of your extraordinary friends was going to debate for presidency of the United States and you were overseeing it? I don't know. I guess that's a far-right talking point, a far-right conspiracy. She said, I really don't want to dignify it with much of a response. I have the highest regard for everyone at ABC News. It's the most professional organization, the most top-notch journalist. It doesn't really dignify much of a response. No. Well, that's a good way of handling that. That's why, again. Well, anyway, 59 days. Kamala Harris has yet to do a formal press conference since emerging as the Democrat nominee. This is kind of interesting. Under pressure to sit down for a substantive interview after weeks of stonewalling, Harris finally ended her interview drought last month when she joined Dana Bash. I think since then she did an interview in Philadelphia, but nothing really, kind of irrelevant. But she's getting a pass on the press conference. She's highly unlikely to do a press conference because the media have enabled and encouraged her plexiglass basement strategy, wherein she preserves the illusion of being out there while remaining wholly inaccessible to the press and therefore unaccountable, said Jorge Bonilla. Yeah, she's running the campaign that is smartest for her. And you may not like to hear that, but if the media is going to let her get away without doing press conferences and doing very few interviews, now that is going to change a little bit because polling has showed, even CNN reported, and I know I've got to take a break, but even CNN reported the other day that undecided voters are not happy with the answers, the generic answers that Harris has given. They want real policy. They want real specifics. So now Harris's campaign has pledged more media interviews because so many voters have questions about her policies, which Harris says she has to clear up confusion about her policy positions. Harris's campaign says she will meet the press on her terms, the New York Times reported on Tuesday. According to the report, the VP plans to amp up her media appearances over the next 7 weeks, with a particular focus on local news outlets in battleground states like Pennsylvania. If you want to know the kinds of things we plan to do, look at the things she was doing all year before the ticket switch. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, don't look at that. If I wouldn't, if I were Harris's people, I wouldn't have recommended that. But think of that. The New York Times even reporting that the Harris campaign says she will meet the press, quote, on her terms. Number one, I like how that's coming from her campaign again. Everything comes from her campaign. But on her term, well, I mean, the debate was originally on her terms, and they tried to change the rules. Everything's been on her terms, and the media is more than happy to grant those terms. While major news networks seek interviews with Harris, aides told the paper she's more interested in taking interviews with local outlets and non-traditional venues with smaller audiences. Yeah, that's what you always want. Smaller audiences when you do interviews. Yeah, just ask anybody promoting a book or an album. They want to go to the smallest audience they possibly can. To that end, Coach Walls spoke on Tuesday with an affiliate in Macon, Georgia, while Harris spoke last Friday to a Philadelphia news station, where her convoluted response to a question about the economy drew criticism. Yeah, because she knows the questions won't be as hardball in the local interviews. Yeah, she may receive a tough question from a reporter but especially a local. I don't mean here locally, but I mean some local reporters realize that they aren't going to go far in this business if they go after her and make that one question that makes the national news. These interviews include drive-time radio hosts and anchors from the local evening news, particularly those who, like the television reporter from Philadelphia, tend not to ask follow-ups if and when Miss Harris filibusters or dodges the questions. Yeah, because they're young reporters in many instances. They don't feel comfortable going for the follow-up, going in for the extra question or the please expand on your question type thing. So I mean, again, there are so many people working behind the scenes in this campaign to ensure these type of things, to ensure that she already got a word salad and the local one, going on with the answer that drew criticism. So they know what they have to do to keep her protected. Now, a Democrat strategist said, "I don't think you can hide for 56 more days from media interviews. The biggest issues with her are because people still don't know enough about her. It's going to take a lot more than one debate and one CNN interview to scratch that itch. Voters want to know whom they're going to vote for and what they stand for and want to see them tested. It's a dangerous strategy of trying to do four corners defense when there's still a lot of clock left in the game." All right, let's take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Get those last minute comments in. We're running out of time. About 15 minutes left here on Frankly Speaking. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
How many times have you tried to clean a stubborn mess but end up with no success? What you need is the all-new waterproof Ruby Horsepower, the new cordless and rechargeable power scrubber that cleans faster and easier, guaranteed. Watch, baked on oven grease is no match. It blasts away dirt and grime in no time. The power comes from our rotating brushes, spinning at 350 RPM. The incredible torque fights calcium, mildew, mold, and more. Take it in the kitchen, where it busts through caked-on crud, or outside and tackle tough tasks with ease. Get your Ruby Horsepower with 4 additional attachments, all for just $39.99. Great news! They're in stock and ready to ship. Due to high demand, only 2 per order. Order now.
Call 1-800-980-2344. That's 1-800-980-2344, or visit horsepowerscrubber.com. So call 1-800-980-2344 now.
Welcome to Frankly Speaking, talking to the people that affect your life, that affect all of our day-to-day lives. This is something you're not going to get anywhere else. We've got a lot to offer. There'll be a lot of news, local, regional, national, really the things that affect you. And I think you'll be glad that you tuned in. So think of it as radio on TV. Frankly Speaking, live, 2 hours long, starting at 6 a.m. on WYDC TV Big Fox. This is history making. And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Let's go through a few comments from viewers. Tulsi, meaning Tulsi Gabbard, has perhaps... Oh, I bumped that button. That's loud. Tulsi has perhaps changed her opinion on some aspects, but Trump needs to be smarter when he wins and choose tried and true, unwavering supporters. Why risk another potential mole? I still haven't got over Mike Pence. He blew my mind. Well, you raise a good point there. I mean, how many leakers were there during the Trump presidency, and also how many of these people that begged for a job from him came back to stab him in the back later and saying, well, really behind the scenes this, and he does this, and we don't like him here, and comes out and endorses somebody else. It's very reminiscent of some of the people, and luckily he didn't do this. But remember when Mitt Romney comes out, gives that speech, basically telling Republicans to vote for Hillary Clinton. So he does that. All right, that's bad enough. Then Trump wins, and he begs for a job as Secretary of State with that awkward, still infamous photo of them at the candlelight dinner. So then he does that, and Trump goes, nope, sorry, you're not going to be in there. And what's happened since? Harris, well, 6-1. Mitt Romney has not done anything but attack Trump for his whole carpetbagging Senate career. Okay. Next up. Is there going to be a debate between the VPs? If so, when? Yes, there is going to be a debate between the VPs. It doesn't seem to be getting a lot of attention, maybe because it's a little ways away. It's on October 1st. It's going to be on CBS News. But October 1st will be the vice presidential debate. I'm looking forward to that. And I had somebody ask me, and I would, I'm not going to name any names, but it's someone that I would bet nearly anything they're not going to vote for Trump, Trump Vance. And they asked me, do you think Vance has a future in this party, no matter what happens, win, lose, or draw? Do you think he has a future in the kind of the MAGA wing, that he'll be the heir apparent, as people were saying from the beginning? I don't necessarily have an opinion on that. I think you can weigh in if you'd like. I think that after watching him, I know the media's portraying him as the worst pick. What did one person say, which was, I just think outrageous, calling him the Sarah Palin of Dan Quayle picks or something. Again, Dan Quayle's a prime example of the scrutiny that a Republican gets that a Democrat wouldn't get. Because think of Dan Quayle's mistake and this goof, just because he's misspelled potato one time. So that was the worst thing in the world. And think of how many mistakes that Vice President Biden made. Look at how many mistakes Harris made. But anyway, we don't always have to talk about the scrutiny. But going back to what I was going to say, I've been very impressed with J.D. Vance when, if you go unfiltered, you don't hear what the media says about him, or watch it for yourself. These interviews that he's been giving in hostile areas has been very impressive. And the reason I say that is because when you see those like Hillary Clinton, when she was giving that interview, complain that the coverage has been negative enough towards Trump, and of course she's in a friendly territory. J.D. Vance continues to go to very hostile territory to give these interviews, and I think is doing a good job staying cool, calm, and collected, and explaining the position of the Trump-Vance campaign. And he's been doing a lot of interviews and press conferences, so I don't think he was a bad pick at all, and I actually think he's been very effective in getting the message out. As I mentioned, Stephen Collinson does have a piece from CNN this morning that says Harris isn't giving the specifics some undecided voters say they want. And this goes back to the two articles that we had, and the media doesn't like doing this. One CBS, one from CNN, saying, wow, we couldn't find a single Harris supporter, or we found one, and there seems to be all this excitement to vote for Trump. So they're spinning it in a way, not even spinning it, they're just saying that, the undecided voters that we thought would maybe go to Harris seem to be saying, wait a minute, where are the policies? You're telling me she won the debate. Okay, but I walked away with no new information or no real information at all. Voters want more from Kamala Harris, but while the Democrat nominee has been clear about what she is not, Donald Trump, she is either unwilling or unable to spell out a comprehensive blueprint for exactly what she would do as president. Wow, that's unable to spell out. Stephen Collinson maybe getting upset that there isn't more interviews. In an interview on Tuesday, the vice president mostly stuck to the broad themes and headlines about her economic plan that were largely familiar from a previous big picture policy speech and her convention address. But a candidate who has been criticized by opponents for running on vibes and surfing a wave of joy refused to be pinned down on specifics and details, instead citing her values and background to attest to her sincerity. For instance, when asked at Tuesday's National Association of Black Journalists how she'd alleviate the squeeze many Americans feel over child and elder care, she said her plan was for no family to pay more than 7% of their income on such costs. But she offered no roadmap whatsoever for how she'd drive major social policy reforms through what is likely to be a polarized Congress next year, and didn't say how she paid for it. I don't even think pay's an afterthought. I don't even think it's a thought at all in most instances. And then you look at the Israel-Hamas war. Harris was strong on aspiration, vague on specifics, and seemed to fall on both sides of the issue. I absolutely believe that this war has to end, and it has to end as soon as possible. And the way that we achieve it is by getting a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done, and we are working around the clock to achieve that end. Far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Few would quarrel with her diagnosis of the situation, but the U.S. has been pursuing the mirage of a deal for months. There's no sign Israel and Hamas want an agreement. And after months of failed diplomacy, the White House seems to be taking a breather. So I'm not going back to what we were saying about Richard Blumenthal. Why is he speaking out about the Department of Justice and the Secret Service and saying they're stonewalling? Why is Stephen Collinson from CNN criticizing Harris unless he wants an interview, unless he does want to see more interviews from Harris? It may be unrealistic to expect Harris, a member of an incumbent administration, to break with Biden over the war. And she's got no power to stop it herself, but her hedging and repetitive sound bites in recent weeks show little evidence of new ideas, while her debate performance last week projected strength. Harris is not usually a gifted political athlete in spontaneous, high-pressure media sit-downs like ex-President Bill Clinton, for instance. And it doesn't come natural for her to drill down deep into policy questions like Elizabeth Warren. This makes her vulnerable to attacks by the Trump campaign and conservative media that her word salads mean she's not up to being president, even if Trump often communicates in a scattershot stream of consciousness and is spreading dangerous falsehoods. Boy, isn't that interesting how that sentence all worked out, that paragraph all worked out? So it's a little bit critical of Harris. But then let's go in for the attack on Trump. Listen, Harris isn't a policy wonk, so is she going to talk policy? He says she's hardly a policy wonk. And is it really likely the most unusual of elections will turn on something as conventional as a policy platform? There's your question. We got to take a break. Stay with us. We are going to wrap things up with this edition of Frankly Speaking. When we come back, get those last-minute comments in.
Enjoy a taste of the Finger Lakes at Hector Hideaway.
With a lunch and dinner menu, we serve a variety of delicious dishes made with locally sourced ingredients. Dine inside or out on the deck for gorgeous lake views and pair your meal with a local wine, beer, or beverage. We're open until 9 p.m. Thursday through Monday, but the bar is open until midnight Fridays and Saturdays. Stay tuned for live music. Visit us today at Hector Hideaway.
Now there's a product that sears food, stirs it, even shreds it for you. Introducing the PowerXL StirMax Multi-Cooker with a built-in auto stirrer that gives you the freedom of adding your ingredients and walking away and coming back to meals that cook up to 60% faster. No more stirring food. StirMax technology automatically rotates the paddle clockwise, then counterclockwise, so it stirs it for you. Powerful enough to even shred food. Then the 7.5 quart pot goes right to the table to serve. With a premium ceramic coating, nothing sticks. And it's dishwasher safe. Now you can try the PowerXL StirMax Multi-Cooker with lid and recipe guide in your home for 30 days for just $14.99. You also get the steamer and rice basket for healthy meals, StirMax serving spoon that snaps in place for easy serving, and $100 in free grocery coupons. We'll even ship your order all absolutely free. This is an exclusive TV-only offer, so order now.
And we are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. A comment from a viewer, and I apologize, it came in as voicemail, which voicemail is totally fine to send in, and I really appreciate it, but it kind of types up what they think you said, and I'm not sure I understand your question, but yes, if you are registered as an independent, your vote absolutely does count in the general election. Now, you can't vote in the primaries, but you absolutely can vote, and your vote does very much matter. Why do you think there's so much going on what are independents saying and, polling on independents? So if I understand, well, just to give you an idea of them translating what people say, I know you meant that you're a longtime resident of Steuben County, but auto-corrected it to a longtime resident and Superman. Just to give you an idea. So it's not a perfect system, but I will try to listen to it. But I think I answered your question. I'm sorry if I didn't. But clarify on air for independents that are listening, thinking their vote doesn't count. It certainly does, and they can vote for the candidates of their choice, and your vote will be counted. Absolutely. So make sure that if you are an independent that you get out and vote. There's no question. It's as important. It's just that it affects you more in the primary. That's all. You just can't vote in a primary. Next up, A different comment. I agree. J.D. Vance was a perfect fit for vice president. I'm thinking if Vance ever gets to be president after Trump, he would be able to continue the MAGA cause. And they called him the kind of heir apparent to MAGA. That is it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. I had so much more to get to, and we are not going to have time to get to it. Is there anything? Nah, can't. All right. Thank you to our guest from the Gaffer District. I know it was a repeat interview, but I know Harvest Fest is going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Tomorrow, we're going to hear about Heritage Fest, which is right down the road at the same time, but it's a perfect accompaniment to the Harvest Fest. Heritage Fest is at Heritage Village. You might know it as the Benjamin Patterson Inn. We have other guests for the rest of the week. It's going to be busy. I think we're going to have 2 guests on Friday. So stay tuned every weekday morning at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox, have a great day, everyone. We will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Look forward to it already.
Come explore the magic of Knapp Winery. It's the perfect fusion of wine, food, and panoramic views. This charming destination will delight every palate with a curated wine flight, wine by the glass, or your favorite bottle to share. Some special finds to try are Knapp's iced wine, dry rosé, and Saperavi. While soaking in the view, you may want to enjoy a brunch, lunch, or dinner at the on-site restaurant. Book your experience at Knapp Winery today.